social networking. On the tables, you'll find face down some handouts. If you'll disperse those around, you'll be able to kind of follow along with some of the things I'm going to talk about today. There's a formal definition on there of social networking. I'm going to paraphrase that for you. Social networking has been around as long as there have been civilizations. It is the act of building relationships for business or personal reasons. When you come to Toastmasters on Friday morning, you are social networking. You are building contacts. Some of us do business together. Some of us have gotten involved as friends outside of this group. And you take those relationships to another group, and you social network there, and you build additional relationships. Your school that you grew up with is a social network. The job you have has the opportunity to become a social network. Your neighborhood, where you live, where you spend your time, are social networks. Well, one of the things that is happening in the world today is so many of us spend so little time at home that we don't know our social networks around the neighborhood, and we have very little in common with them. And if you're going to have a social relationship with somebody, it helps to have some common ground. Welcome the internet into the 21st century and the social networking concept. And it started with MySpace. I won't say it started with MySpace. MySpace is the one most of us remember as the first really big networking site that came out. There were others that didn't last as long. Which started initially as a place for teenagers to come and meet with their music groups. It was a way for groups that were performing music not to have to go through all the big record labels and still have a way to connect with their groupies, if you will. And today, MySpace still has a reputation as being a teenage group website. And a lot of teenagers are on there, but if you'll notice on the sheet that I gave you, MySpace is changing. The average visitor to MySpace, the average member of MySpace is 27 years old. And the fastest growing age group is over the age of 18. Now, MySpace has been the top networking site for many years. And if you'll notice, the top page has a diagram up there talking about the top 25 social networking sites out there. And you'll notice it has the site rankings as of January of 2009, and it tells you where they were a year ago. And you'll notice that MySpace a year ago was first, it's now second. Twitter was 22nd last year, it's now third. How many of you even know what Twitter is? There's a great Sprint commercial out there right now. I absolutely love the Sprint network commercial. It starts giving you all the different numbers. So many millions of people are online right now, and so many millions of people just sent an email, and so many millions of people just texted somebody from a business meeting, and the most common subject was diapers. So many millions of people just Twittered somebody, and a quarter of our audience have no idea what Twitter is. My kids laugh at that one. They think it's hysterical. So, what is the purpose of social networking? Why should I be involved in social networking? And what does it do for me? Now, I didn't bring my computer with me today, but I want you to know that if you go out on the internet today and you type in Jeanine Kinsey into Google, I take up most of the first 5 pages. My website for speaking, my Toastmasters duties, YouTube videos from Club Awesome, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, my business, my YouTube account, my LinkedIn account, my Facebook account. That is the biggest reason for doing social networking. It builds your web presence. And if you don't think that's important, folks, more than half of all employers today, when you go in and have a face-to-face interview with them, when you walk out of the room, they type your name into Google. Most people don't know that. There's some incredible stories right now about people who went in and made an incredible impression. They sat there in that interview and wow, the employer's thinking, man, I'm hiring this one. She's done. This kid's got it all together. And they went out and they looked him up on Google and their MySpace popped up and they're in goth saying, I hate working in an office. The last thing I want to do is be an accountant. And that's the job they just interviewed for. Yeah, they lost that job. So you have to be careful when you're social networking and when you're involved in these sites and make sure that the reputation that you're creating for yourself is a positive one. and make sure that it's the one you want people to know about. When I go out and I tell somebody that I design websites, they're going out and they're typing in my business name. They're typing in my name. They want to know, who am I? What's this person's reputation like? Can you imagine if I had stuff up there that indicated I did things other than all the good things that I've listed? And the only bad thing on that list right now is the fact that about 10 years ago I worked for a company that filed bankruptcy and they wrote me a check for $153. And it's on that list because it was in the bankruptcy record, so it shows up. That's the only ding, and that's 10 years ago, and it's obvious that I wasn't the owner of the company. Okay? You want to make sure that you're building a positive relationship. Now, it's not just business. I won't lie to you. I'm going to tell you a couple of quick stories to help you understand how it builds your personal relationships as well as your business relationships. 25 years ago, I went to Norway with a group of Girl Scouts and attended a Boy Scout jamboree and stayed with the family. Celia and I stayed in touch. She was a teenager at the time, and we stayed in touch for many years. When my son was born, she happened to be traveling in the U.S. with a choir and actually came and visited with me when my son was a year old, 18 years ago. She went home, graduated from high school, went off to France to go to college, and her family moved, and I lost touch with Celia. And every so often I'd go out and I'd search for Celia online. Couldn't find her. Figured she'd probably gotten married. Couldn't track down her family or anything else. Well, a couple of months ago, I decided that I have all these connections on Facebook and all these connections on LinkedIn and 6 degrees of separation. How many of you are familiar with that concept? Technically, somebody in any part of the world, 2 people can connect through 5 connections, right? I did it in 4. I went online and I started searching for Jeanine in Norway. There are a lot of Jeanines in Norway, and none of them were named Celia. And then I remembered her brother's name, Bard. And I typed in Bard. And I said, I found him. I found a Bard Jeanine. What are the chances of me finding him, right? So I sent him an email and I said, I hope you're the one who has a sister named Celia. If you are, you may or may not remember me. I stayed at your house for a couple of weeks in 1986 with the Girl Scouts. If you're Bard, can you help me find your sister? The next morning I had an email from a gentleman living in Western Norway. He said, hi, I'm Celia's husband. Bard sent me your contact information. Celia's not online, but here's her Skype phone number and her email address. And within 20 minutes, Celia and I were having a Skype conversation across the world. Now, I've connected with several other friends the same way, and some of them have led to lucrative business deals as well. As you build those connections, that is what social networking is about. It's building those connections, networking with one another with common interests, and allowing yourselves to be out there. And that is social networking.